Good morning and welcome to Round the Globe on Aneke TV. I am Aneke. First, the headlines. Helicopter teams lead Afghanistan rescue as earthquake kills more than 800. Russian president hails ties with China. Over 1,000 killed in landslide in Western Sudan. Resident doctors issue 10-day strike ultimatum over unmet demands. FG Masik Ekba's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. Edo crowned weightlifting champions in Asaba. I am Aneke. Now the news in details. United Nations humanitarian agencies sent helicopter teams searching remote villages in Afghanistan for survivors of a magnitude 6.0 earthquake that happened last Sunday and has left more than 800 people dead. The earthquake struck the mountainous Kuna province, and with roads blocked by debris, rescue operations need to be carried out by air. The death toll could rise significantly as many are still feared to be trapped under the rubble, while officials report entire villages being destroyed. The Taliban has called for international aid, with the UK pledging €1 million in relief funding, stressing that the money will not go into the Taliban's hands. The quake struck at a shallow depth of 8 kilometers, which can be more destructive, and shook buildings from Kabul to Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Meanwhile, the world's leading association of genocide scholars has declared that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. A resolution passed by the International Association of Genocide Scholars, IGS, states that Israel's conduct meets the legal definition as laid out in the UN Convention on Genocide. Across the 3-page resolution, the IGS presents a litany of actions undertaken by Israel throughout the 22-month war that it recognizes as constituting genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The IAGS is the world's largest professional association of genocide scholars and includes a number of Holocaust experts. Out of its 500 members, 28% took part in the vote, and 86% of those who voted supported the resolution. Also, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he has an insightful exchange with Russian President Putin on the sidelines of a summit in China. The two leaders spent 45 minutes inside the Russian leader's car, after which Modi posted a picture of their journey alongside the compliment to Putin. The meeting came after scenes of hand-holding between the pair as they were hosted by China's Xi Jinping for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, which is being seen as a challenge to U.S. President Donald Trump and U.S. dominance on a global level. Meanwhile, authorities say 1,000 villages in India's Punjab state are marooned by deadly floods, with thousands forced to seek shelter in relief camps. Flooding across the northwestern state killed at least 29 people and affected over 250,000 last month, with the state's chief minister calling it one of the worst flood disasters in decades. The region is often dubbed India's bread basket, but more than 940 square kilometers of farmland are flooded, leading to devastating crop losses. Authorities have said that they fear a huge loss of livestock, the full extent of which will only be clear when the waters recede, according to a bulletin issued by the state authorities late Monday. India's army and disaster teams have carried out vast rescue operations, deploying more than 1,000 boats and 30 helicopters to rescue the stranded or supply food. In the meantime, Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have kicked off bilateral talks in Beijing on the eve of a massive military parade in the Chinese capital. Putin hailed relations between both countries, saying they were on an unprecedented level, adding that their close communication reflects the strategic nature of Russia and Chinese ties. Xi told Putin that Russia-China relations have withstood the test of international changes, adding that Beijing was willing to work with Moscow to promote the construction of a more just and reasonable global governance system. Xi is set to host China's largest ever military parade tomorrow, which will mark the 80th anniversary of the surrender of the Japanese in China at the end of World War II. Now bringing news from Africa. The Sudan Liberation Movement, a rebel group that controls Western Sudan, says at least 1,000 people were killed in a landslide that destroyed a village in the Mara Mountains area, leaving only one survivor. The movement, which controls the area located in Darfur region, appealed to the United Nations and international aid agencies to help recover the bodies of victims, including women, men, and children. This news broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can follow us on all social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, and here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick look at major developments in the news. Helicopter teams lead Afghanistan rescue as earthquake kills more than 800. Russian president hails ties with China. Over 1,000 killed in landslide in Western Sudan. Coming up shortly, resident doctors issues a 10-day strike ultimatum over unmet demands. Federal government may seek Ekpa's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. Edo crowned weightlifting champions in Asaba. The news returns after the break.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of.
You're still watching Around the Globe on Aneke TV. We now bring you stories from Nigeria. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) has issued a fresh 10-day ultimatum to the federal government and other relevant authorities, warning of an imminent nationwide strike if its outstanding demands are not addressed. The resolution was contained in a communique signed by NARD President Dr. Tope Oshundara, General Secretary Dr. Oluwashola Odubako, and Publicity and Social Secretary Dr. Omoha Amobi, following an extraordinary National Executive Council (ENEC) meeting held virtually. The association recalled that it had earlier given a 3-week ultimatum in July before extending the deadline by another 3 weeks to allow for further dialogue with stakeholders. However, it expressed disappointment that the government has yet to fulfill its promises. According to NARD, many resident doctors are still unpaid for their 2025 Medical Residency Training Fund, MRTF. It also decried the failure to settle 5 months arrears from the 25 to 35% Consolidated Medical Salary Structure (CONMES) review, along with other long-standing salary arrears. Meanwhile, the federal government has hinted that it must seek the repatriation of Simon Ekpa to Nigeria following his 6-year jail term sentence in Finland for terrorism-related offences. The Pajatheim District Court in Finland yesterday sentenced the Nigerian-born Finnish to 6 years in prison for terrorism-related crimes and other offences. The 40-year-old former municipal politician from Lati was convicted of multiple charges, including participation in the activities of a terrorist organization, incitement to commit crimes for terrorist purposes, aggravated tax fraud, and violations of the Lawyers Act. The court ordered that Ekpa remain in custody. According to the judgment, between August 2021 and November 2024, Ekpa attempted to promote the independence of the so-called Biafra region in southeastern Nigeria through illegal means. Also, the federal government has expressed excitement over a sharp rise in diaspora remittances, which have surged to $600 million monthly in the past 2 months, according to figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa, said the increase reflected renewed confidence in the Nigerian economy and recent CBN policy reforms. In a statement issued by NIDCOM spokesperson, Mr. Abdul Rahman Balogun, Mrs. Dabiri-Erewa described the inflow as humongous, noting that it marked a 200% jump from the $200 million monthly average previously recorded. She commended CBN Governor Dr. Olayemi Kadosu for reforms such as the introduction of the non-resident bank verification number and a more competitive exchange rate, which has encouraged Nigerians abroad to channel funds through official platforms. And away from that, operatives of the Akwa Ibom State Police Command have apprehended 7 suspected cultists over cult-related attacks in Ikot Usura, Ikot Ekpene local government area of the state. It was gathered that the suspects believed to be members of the proscribed Ku Klux Klan confraternity were arrested with a human skull. This was contained in a statement by the command's public relations officer DSP Timfon John in Uyo. John said the arrest followed a complaint received by a student of the Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, Ikoto Sura, that he was ambushed and attacked by members of the gang. She said that the victim, who had renounced his membership of the terror group, was unconscious after the attack, adding that his Redmi 13C Android phone and 41,000 naira cash were stolen from him. Now we move over to the business news. Nigeria and Colombia are working towards partnership in aviation, trade and cultural exchanges. These are the highlights of the bilateral meeting between Colombia Vice President Francia Marquez and Vice President Kashim Shettima in Abuja yesterday. The South American, who is on a 3-day visit to Nigeria, met with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in company of Shettima after their meeting. The president assured the Colombia leader that he would implement the agreements that were reached at a meeting with the vice president. Mrs. Marquez identified aviation, visa facilitation, political consultations, cultural exchange, and trade as priority areas for partnership. She also highlighted Colombia's interest in direct flights between both nations and expressed commitment to working with Nigeria to advance social justice, gender equality, and inclusivity. Still talking business, the Naira recorded its highest single-day appreciation against the dollar across both the official and parallel foreign exchange markets yesterday. According to Central Bank of Nigeria data, the Naira gained 1,522 Naira 9 kobo against the dollar Monday from 1,531 Naira 57 kobo at the official exchange market. This means that at the official market, the Naira strengthened by 5 Naira 48 kobo per dollar Monday, compared with 1,531 Naira 57 kobo traded on Friday last week. The figure surpassed the 3 Naira 9 kobo margin at which the Naira appreciated at the close of Friday the previous week. Similarly, in this black market, the Naira firmed by 10 Naira to 1,533 Naira Monday from 1,543 Naira traded on Friday, a Bureau de Change operator in Wuse Zone 4, Abubakar Al-Hassan, told reporters. He said that the appreciation of the Naira is unconnected to low demand for foreign currency on Monday. Now we move to sports. Team Edo stamped their authority in weightlifting at the ongoing 9th National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State, finishing well ahead of the competition to emerge overall champions. With a haul of 9 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze medals, Edo outclassed their rivals, leaving Team Akwa Ibom in second place with 5 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. Team Abia followed in third with 3 gold, while Team Niger settled for fourth with 1 gold and 2 silver medals. Edo's dominance was most evident in the women's weight classes, where they swept all 9 gold medals on offer. And still talking sports, Super Falcons forward Ashishat Oshoala is set to join Saudi Arabia Professional Women's Football League side Al Hilal. Oshoala will make the switch from National Women's Soccer League NWSL club Bay FC. The 30-year-old, according to The Athletic, arrived at Riyadh on Monday and passed a medical test. And moving over to entertainment. Big Brother Niger Season 10 housemate Faith has secured the head of house title for week 6 after an intense challenge on Monday evening dethroning Sultana. Sultana was the interim head of house for week 6 after winning a 3-stage challenge on Sunday. However, Faith outshined his fellow housemates Koyi, Inisi, Sultana, Ivata and Doris during the head of house challenge. His victory not only grants him immunity from this week's nominations, but also positions him at the center of house leadership and strategy. A former holder of the Guinness World Record for marathon cooking, Hilda Bassi, will be cooking 250 bags of rice to set a new world record for the biggest jollof pot. Hilda made the plan public on Monday in a trending video shared on her Instagram page. Analyzing the scale of the project, Hilda explained that she would be using 22,619 liters pot for the cooking. And that's all on Round the Globe on Aneke TV. To end Round the Globe, here are the main points. U.S. humanitarian agencies said helicopter teams are searching remote villages in Afghanistan for survivors of a magnitude 6.0 earthquake. At least 1,000 people were killed in a landslide that destroyed a village in the Mara Mountains area of western Sudan. We also told you that the federal government has hinted that it may seek the repatriation of Simon Ekpa to Nigeria. And that ends the news. For breaking news and eyewitness reports, please call 0703-043-7110, or you can send us a message across all our social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I am Amaka Nichi. Thank you for joining us.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of the Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boosts its uniqueness. Igbo is widely spoken in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coast State because of its large deposit of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Ude Hill in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigeria railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, arts, and tradition, location, and geography. Enugu is situated in the southern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue State at the north, Ebonyi State at the east, Abia State and Imo State at the south, and Anambra and Kogi State at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperature averaging 28 degrees centigrade. People and language. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in the shaping and culture and identity of the Igbo people. Culture and tradition. Enugu is rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmanwu, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades, each with its unique characteristics and cultural significance. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts, including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help to promote community cohesion, social bond, and cultural identity. Efforts are being made to document and promote this tradition, ensuring their continuation for future generations. Economy. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trades and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history, and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Live. According to a veteran lover of nature, Mr. Odo Chukwuebuka Gerald, He views life as a progressive stage. The joy of life often invokes the intrinsic beauty of our true existence. Life is not a straight road. It bends, it breaks, it blossoms again. We stumble, we soar, and sometimes just breathing is proof that we are still becoming. It's not always loud. Some of the best parts of life comes in whispers, in morning lights, in long walks, in holding someone's hand through the silence. Life is not measured by years, but by moments. And in every moment, even the ordinary ones, is a sacred chance to begin again. Religion. Religion wears many names, but in its deepest form is not in rituals. It is in love. True faith is not louder than others. It listens. It breaks bread with strangers and weeps with the broken. We are not defined by the places we kneel, but by the way we rise and reach for each other. The prophets came not to divide, but to remind us that all paths to God must pass through kindness. So, let our prayers not end in temples. Let them begin in how we live, in the warmth we give, and in the bridges we build beyond belief.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water falling from our eyes or washing over our skin can heal what language cannot.
na mbụ ọja m na-asị ekekele ụwa na ọkwa ọja ekenekwa gị na eluigwe na ala na-ekene gị na urukpuru na kpakpando na-ekene gị na ugwu na ndịna na-ekene gị maka ka onye si eme ka ekwesị akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya ihe a bụ Aneke TV.
Aqua, water. Water is life, ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language?
Aneke TV, your favorite person brightening your day every morning. I'm Deborah Nwakaoba, coming to you live from our studio here in vibrant Enugu.
And Uche Osai, wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for joining us this beautiful Tuesday morning. As always, we are here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and it's Tuesday, 2nd September 2025. And it's, as always, we've got your full line of news. We've got your news, you've got your trending stories, and that special sunrise vibe to help you begin the day.
So, relax, sip your tea or coffee, enjoy the ride, because sunrise is here.
Yes, and as usual, we'll first of all start off with our quote of the day, which was the educative, encouraging, and word-drawing insight from in order for us to remain focused and well-driven.
And later, we'll take you through today's celebration to lift your spirits.
Okay, and then we've got your weather report for today that will be covering cities across the southeast, which will help you get well prepared before you step out.
Right after that, we'll give you today's stories from our newspaper headlines. All the key updates you need will be served hot and tasty.
So to our quote of the day today is coming from the man himself, Chinua Achebe, and in his quote he says, "We cannot trample upon the humanity of others without devaluing our own." I repeat, he says, we cannot trample upon the humanity of others without devaluing our own. And then he's trying to remind us that how we treat others is a reflection of who we are. And if we disrespect, oppress, or strip away the dignity of another person, we are not just harming them, we are also lowering our own moral worth and humanity in the process. Mr. Uche, would you want to say something about this quote about
I think this quote in itself is self-explanatory.
Okay.
He's simply telling us, treat others the way you want to be treated. See yourself in others. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And please do not forget to let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. And we'll be going on a short break. When we return, we'll be taking you on the weather update.
Water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water falling from our eyes or washing over our skin can heal what language cannot.
You're still watching Aneke TV. Stay tuned as we take a look at today's weather across major cities in the southeast.
Yes, and we will start from Awka. In Awka, the day begins under a cloudy sky with temperatures at about 22 degrees Celsius. Mid-morning brings occasional showers, gradually increasing by afternoon as temperatures climb gently to around 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. By early evening, the rain subsides to mostly cloudy conditions, settling into a slightly cooler, damp night near 23 to 24 degrees Celsius.
And Enugu wakes up to a temperature around 24 degrees Celsius. The late morning brings glimpses of sun, pushing temperatures into the upper 20 degrees Celsius. By midday, rain showers begin in the early afternoon, intensifying into heavier rain in the evening, when temperatures ease back to around mid-20 degrees Celsius.
Yes, and over to Abakaliki. Abakaliki starts under a blanket of clouds at about 23 degrees Celsius. Thunderstorms roll in by mid-morning with persistent rain through the afternoon. The mercury rises to 28 to 30 degrees Celsius during the day before the night descends into damp, cloudy conditions with temperatures hanging around 24 to 25 degrees Celsius.
And Owerri opens up the day with some steady morning showers around 23 degrees Celsius, transiting to overcast skies by midday. The afternoon brings temperatures up to about 29 degrees Celsius, while the sky stays cloudy into the evening with temperatures settling in the mid-20 degrees Celsius.
And lastly, we have Umahia. In Umahia, the morning remains cloudy at roughly 23 degrees Celsius. By early afternoon, rain sets in, continuing into the mid-afternoon with temperatures peaking near 28 to 29 degrees Celsius, and the day winds up down under a cloudy sky with temperatures dipping to about 24 to 25 degrees Celsius by nightfall.
So, remember, wherever you are in the southeast, keep your umbrella close. Rain or shine, we've got you covered. That's your weather report today on Aneke TV. We'll be right back shortly.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language.
Religion. Religion wears many names, but in its deepest form is not in rituals. It is in love. True faith is not louder than others. It listens. It breaks bread with strangers and weeps with the broken. We are not defined by the places we kneel, but by the way we rise and reach for each other. The prophets came not to divide, but to remind us that all paths to God must pass through kindness. So, let our prayers not end in temples. Let them begin in how we live, in the warmth we give, and in the bridges we build beyond belief.
Aqua, water. Water, aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. So today, let's see what's making front page news today in The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and Guardian newspaper. And on today's show, we have again our in-house analyst, Mrs. Chiwedu Ifeoluwanko. Thank you for joining us on the show once again.
Thank you, Ms. Deborah. Thank you,
Miss
Oscar.
You're
Chiwedu.
You are
welcome.
looking great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
coming as always.
Okay, now moving over to The Nation headlines. It reads that Obi returns to run in 2027 will kill PDP, says Wike. And over to the Punch headlines. It says FG may seek Ekpa's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. Then Vanguard headline reports Jonathan to Keyamo Odikalu keep off her political journey. And lastly, in Guardian headlines, it says local carriers struggle as foreign airlines rake in $1.7 billion from Nigerian markets. And now we'll be talking on the Guardian headline, which says local carriers struggle as foreign airlines rake in $1.7 billion from Nigerian markets. Now, the Nigerian airlines are facing serious challenges while foreign carriers are dominating the market, taking home about $1.7 billion from the Nigerian aviation sector. The imbalance raises question about competition and support for local operators.
Okay. You know, this news headline coming at this point in time underscores the fact that this has been a usual issue for Nigerian airlines. Before now, you see that airlines in Nigeria suffer myriad of issues. They usually don't last long. If you begin to count in the last, let's say, decade, you count up to 10 airlines that have gone moribund, that will no longer hear about them. So they are faced with enormous challenges. But the question is, why is the Nigerian market so favorable to foreign airlines when compared to our local airlines? Now it brings to mind that when it comes to Nigeria, how many of our local airlines, or indigenous airlines rather, engage international routes? Bar a piece, there's none at the moment. It's only a piece that's in that route. And you would agree with me that this is where the bulk of the aviation gold mine is. The local travel is not yet that developed or so utilized as when compared to the foreign trips or the foreign international routes. So in this case, what are the challenges that's stopping our local airlines from engaging on the international trips? These are the questions we'll begin to ask. Has the government provided enabling environment that will help indigenous airlines thrive? What are the regulations in place? Now that brings to mind, do we even have a national carrier to start with? Do we? We don't. I bet the attempt by the previous government to bring up what they called Nigerian Air, that we saw on air, but never witnessed on ground, which I'm supposed to know that there's still an ongoing investigation concerning that on-air Nigerian airline that never bettered, or where we had to borrow, we borrowed an aircraft from Ethiopian airline, painted in Nigerian colors. We don't have a national carrier. That begins to tell you the value we place on indigenous carriers. Ethiopia, the Ethiopian airline is one of the most thriving airlines in the world. I'm not just talking about Africa now. They are competing. Most other nations have their national carriers. Where is ours? None. Then, talking about the factors stopping our indigenous airlines from thriving in the industry, it may be surprised to know that in Nigeria, all the airlines, I mean the indigenous airlines you have in Nigeria, when they want to go for sea check, they have to travel as far as South Africa to go for sea check. Check the cost of that, the cost of moving one aircraft from Nigeria to South Africa or other countries for sea check. That tells you that we don't have anywhere in Nigeria where sea check can be carried out. And in most cases, when they go for these sea checks, they don't come back. Bringing me to policy. What policy do you have on the quality and the years of aircraft you bring into Nigeria? So, at the end of the day, the work to make the airline, the indigenous airlines to thrive, especially take advantage of the international route, a lot is dependent on the government. Have you created an enabling environment? What are your policies? I've pointed the issue of sea checks. The cost of moving an aircraft from here to as far as South Africa will deplete whatever profit that airline is making. So we'll thank the lives of APs who have continued to thrive. What does that tell you? That the indigenous airlines, given appropriate or good environments, would thrive.
Another issue to that is the fact that we Nigerians we like uh,
Symbols.
symbols.
Okay.
We like to associate ourselves with known brands.
Okay.
So I will feel more honored if I tell you that I travel with British Airways airlines, and the other one say, "Oh, it's Emirates
Okay.
I'm flying with." The other person traveling with Airpeace will be like,
Who am I?
do you understand?
Yes.
So nobody wants to be looked at that way. We're talking about international. So we want to associate ourselves with known brands. And that's why we tend not to attach much importance to what we have. Currently, I'm sure of Ibon Air and Airpeace. I don't know, and we know Nigerians we are trooping out of this country in drones, not even thousands. So how far have we been, at least we, patronizing these airways? If we are patronizing them well enough, these foreign aircrafts or airlines won't be so comfortable
Yes, it won't
in this Nigerian market.
That's very
But
important,
because
yes.
we don't pay much attention to what we have, we tend to patronize the foreign aircraft
Crafts.
airlines better. So why not? They feel more comfortable here. They know, of course, Nigeria has very large market, so everybody is coming to cut their own share of the cake. You understand?
Yes.
So they feel they will thrive, and that's thriving more here. Another issue today is facility. The how updated
Is it?
is even the one we are running? How is it the facilities, the 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 workings,
Maintenance.
the
You know,
maintenance?
if I may come in here, when you talk about facilities, having an airport is the least you can provide when it comes to airline operation. The most important aspect of it is the sea check satisfaction. If you don't pass your sea check, you can't fly. So in that case, that begins to tell you the level of risk that we exposed in the country. Even the local airlines, the one that ply the local routes, is a big risk. Because when you begin to carry out due diligence, you now begin to ask the question, when was the last time this aircraft left Nigeria for maintenance? And I can categorically and evidentially tell you that most of these airlines, most of these aircraft, when they go for sea check, hardly return to the country. Because they hardly pass that. So yes, like you pointed out, Nigeria market is large. Yes, that's the largest market in Africa. And whoever comes here would make profit. Now, what would give confidence to a passenger to use local aircraft? Bearing in mind that the facilities, like you pointed out, are not there or are not up to date. These are the factors. And like you pointed out, if I am to observe our government officials, do they use local airlines, like you pointed out?
That's the thing.
Did they
Do you
use local
understand?
airlines? When was the last time?
They don't patronize. So what
I
do you
should
think?
assume that at this point in time, there should be a government policy that every government official embarking on a foreign trip should make use of our
airlines.
indigenous airline. We've seen APs going to different routes. They are thriving. But when was the last time you see a government official use those airlines? These are the factors that will
the
bring that
problem.
engenders confidence,
Yes.
both in the passengers and the international
Because
community.
the others will be like, if our officials don't use it,
Who are we to
they want me
use
to want me to come and risk my own life.
So
I
if-
want
That's
plus
true.
my money. Do you understand?
If foreign airlines are raking up to 1.7 billion US dollars, that tells you that the airline industry is a gold mine.
Yeah.
The international route is a bigger gold mine
Yes,
that should be
that's
taken
true.
advantage of.
I
So
wonder
on
why
that
they're
note,
not-
the right thing to do, I think, is to call the government to take note of this. We are talking about growing the economy. This is another opportunity that could be tapped in. There's a whole lot of resources, a whole lot of potentials to be tapped in. And the federal government should make it mandatory for government officials to patronize our indigenous airlines whenever
Just
they
let
are
them lead by
whenever
example.
they are traveling abroad. Yes, we know that the president has the Air Force One and all that, but what about the ministers
Yes.
and all that, the legislatures and all that? They should make a policy and make it mandatory for every government
and make
official
use of the
to
local-
use the local
Yes.
airlines. And then, talking about facility, they should do everything. The amount that is being expanded to go for C-check, when mentioned, you'll be so surprised. So if government can set up such facilities, so that this money doesn't leave the country, yes, and then being plugged back into the nation, to go a long way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll be moving over to the Nation headlines. That reports Obi's return to run in 2027 will kill PDP, says Wike. Now, former River State Governor Nyeso Wike has declared that if Peter Obi decides to contest the 2027 presidential election, it will spell doom. It will spell doom for the People's Democratic Party, warning that the party risks losing its strength and influence. So, do you think the party will actually lose their?
What's the word? He said it will spell what? Doom?
Doom, yes.
Okay, what sort of doom will he spell for
I do
PDP?
not know.
Anyway.
He knows what he's saying.
Going into this, this makes me laugh, because why am I laughing? I think that a party for PDP, for everything they've been through, at the verge of losing credibility, because as far as the citizens are concerned, PDP is fast losing credibility. What's the right thing for them to do? To do everything, bring in every person that could help them shore up that dignity, that credibility.
Okay.
And I, for one, I think that Peter Obi, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, are sellable products, sellable candidates that would make people to begin to reimagine the PDP from the weakling it has become as an opposition party, from the wranglings in the party. Now, what gave rise to this? Historically, let's look at it. Who are those at the front for P2B to return to the PDP? Former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Gana, was the first person who heard from, who mooted this idea that they are talking to P2B and some of their former members who they feel would add value to the party to return to the fold. Beyond that, the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Muhammad, equally is at the forerunner calling for the return of P2B to the party. And former governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido, have taken it a notch higher than that in saying that if P2B returns, the right thing to do is for the ticket to be given to him and that he will support the ticket if P2B is given that platform to run. Now, what does this tell you? These people have seen that this is a credible, sellable product. Then, from which angle is Wike coming from? I can only view it from one perspective, which I keep saying, the fact that the PDP lacks the will to call Wike to order. Yes. If Wike is saying that the return of Peter Obi will spell doom for the party and challenging the party, challenging anybody to try it, to try and bring him back, they will see that will scatter the PDP. They will see where they will get to. Tells you one thing. Wike has taken a position. The position I call the position of PDAPC. And what is the position of PDAPC? To make sure that there's no opposition. To make sure that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu re-emerges without strong opposition come 2027. And as far as he is concerned, he is protecting that interest. He is doing what he has promised PDP and everybody, that he will do everything humanly possible. Now, that brings me to another issue. Why is Mr. Wike, who cried and did everything, sold so many ashebis to see and stop, to call PDP to order for not zoning his ticket to the south? What's stopping him from this time picking that ticket now that it's been zoned to the south?
Okay.
Yes. So something here tells me that is either APC as a party, PDAPC as a movement is against and are scared of the man called Peter Obi. It begins to make me question certain things. Why would a ruling party that emerged with about 2 million votes, 12 million votes, be scared of the man that came third with about 6-point-something million votes? To the extent that they would want to go to any length to stop him. And now, one question that keep ringing in my head, though one may argue that is not very related, my question to the PDP is two. Why are they so scared to discipline the likes of Wike? Two, now that they want to resolve the crisis that has bedeviled the PDP since their miscalculation in 2023, their lack of courage to zone their ticket to the south in 2023, why or what stops them from being courageous enough, now that they want to correct that anomaly, to zone that ticket directly to the southeast? If they are talking about equity and fairness, which was the reason why Peter Obi in the first place, I bet the actions of Mr. Wike that drove Peter Obi away from the party. Two issues. Not zoning the ticket to the southeast, and former Governor Wike monetizing and scheming with the Obas in Anambra State. These were the factors that made Obi leave PDP. So, it's obvious to us that Wike is so scared that the return of the lives of former President Goodluck Jonathan, the lives of former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, would spoil the show for PDAPC.
You know, just early this morning, one of my quotes on Facebook was saying that because of the game of who gets what, many people have sacrificed their conscience on the altar of peanuts. You know, Wike is so soaked with what is coming out of the game he has been playing, to the point that he can't see clearly again. And you see this issue of integrity. A man may not have money, but if you have integrity, you see them, okay, why has it not occurred to you in a class, where you have the students, they party a lot, they do a lot of things bad, but when it has to do with want to elect our officers, maybe course rep, FinSec, they will go to all those bookworms. Those ones that always come to class, sit in front, concentrate. They won't come and appoint their follow guys that, in fact, they always get to the club before them. They won't do that. Why? Or don't they know them? They know that you want to trade our money, no problem, give it to that person. But you want this money to be safe, you better give it to Pastor Ebuka, the one we know is always coming to our class to say morning prayers. We have never seen him with any guy or any girl. He's always there. Call at anything, he's always there. So give him 1 naira. 1 naira made of 1 note, yellow in color. Ask for it next 2 months. You go and bring that same 1 naira made of one note of yellow color, not 1 naira patched up for it to be 1 naira, meaning that he has used the one of yellow color. They will go and look for those ones. Integrity. They know that this man, Obi, is so clean. I wonder, that's why they're so uncomfortable. Can such a person actually exist in this kind of time? They know that if Peter Obi should actually pick those tickets, they know what portends for them. That people, the masses, Nigerians are not, they don't care which party he's coming out from. They are interested in the man flying the flag. Even if it's birthday party, they are ready to go in with him. Are you getting it? During that 2023 electioneering period, he so conscientized people that people began to understand that it is not about party, that it is about the individual in question. You are telling me you want to come and serve me, yet you went as far as going to the bank to borrow money to make sure that your route to getting to serve me is cleared. So what kind of service are you actually coming to render to me? So if you can actually put all these things together, you understand the reason why Wike will be talking from this side, Kiyamo will be talking from the other side,
Yes.
offering unsolicited advice. Who begs them?
Given what's happening with the political parties, the opposition political parties, the unsolicited advice, like you pointed out, and then the position of the chairman of PDAPC, like I want to say, one thing is so clear here. I'm beginning to think or feel that APC is scared of going into the contest in 2027 with an opposition. Yes, I'm beginning to feel that everything is being done to make sure that there is no vehicle for opposition candidates.
Okay.
Not to talk of the likes of credible opposition candidates to stand on come 2027.
So people
I don't know if I will call it Freudian slip when former governor Nyesom Wike was speaking. He said which Obi, which platform, you will see that it is orchestrated that these individuals wouldn't have a platform come 2027. Now takes me to another issue entirely.
Okay.
When you listen to former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, he said, when alluding to what happened in Rivers State and the defection of governors, he said that by the magic in Rivers State and coercing opposition leaders, governors to the camp and join PDP, if the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, thinks that that's the road to winning to 2027, that he's been mistaken. That he doesn't have a pathway to 2027. Because when the chips are down, the masses are not with him. Yes. According to him, he said over 30 million Nigerians have gone lower into the poverty benchmark, so that he doesn't see a pathway. That either when you coerce the governors to join your party is not enough. Pointing out the fact that in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi, with an unpopular platform, the Labour Party was able to defeat the president in his home state of Lagos State, defeated the vice presidential candidate of the PDP in his home state, and won majority of the states of these governors, where these governors are decamping from. That he doesn't see the pathway. And then I'm beginning to agree that it is this fear that is driving the likes of former Governor Nyesom Wike to make sure that there is no platform. And if I'm to give a penny advice, if I'm to give my penny advice to former Governor Peter Obi, I would say that he should be very careful in frolicking with the PDP, or even going back to the PDP, even if they dash him that ticket as a platform to run. Because I feel and I see, I'm not a prophet, but I see that he will be bedeviled with legal tussles if he uses PDP as a platform. Yes. I believe with what is happening, that a lot of landmines have been buried. It's only a question of time for them to begin to be detonated.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And we'll be moving over to a stranger story, which happens to be a lady that lost her twin, her twin, for just because she was asked to bring 28,000 naira for hospital and everything.
In which state was that?
In Abuja. It happened in Abuja, actually.
Okay.
It happened in Abuja. So have you seen the story?
Yeah, yes, I did. I saw that story too. Quite pathetic.
Very, very hard.
Quite pathetic. That such scenario, such thing will happen in Nigeria of today. Yes. Where we are told that government is doing everything to improve mother and child mortality rate. And then, with the level of alleviations, grants, humanitarian aids, billions being mentioned, given out here and there, that in this country, at this time, that a pregnant woman could and lost a twin pregnancy to how much? 28,000 naira.
28,000.
Now, it begins to call up a lot of things for questioning. Let me free the government from now. Who got her pregnant?
Okay.
That's my question. Who got her pregnant?
The husband.
Where's the man?
Well, she
Where
said
was the man?
According to her, she said the husband ran away.
The man absconded. Now, it now makes me to remember a quote from the late Pope John Paul II of blessed memory, when he said that every child has a father. Every father has a child, sorry, but not every child has a father.
Okay.
Yes, every father has a child, but not every child has a father. And that begins to tell you the irresponsibility of most of us, men and women. I'm sorry, what they call themselves, the feminists or the women advocates. No, yes, the man is at fault, but I will not leave anybody. It's a stark irresponsibility on all of us. Why would a woman get pregnant? And why would a man, knowing your financial capability and status in this climb, get a woman pregnant? And then, cowardly, runs away for 28,000. What is 28,000? when you look at that video, you see that that pregnancy was beyond 6 months. That man is very, very irresponsible. I've not heard his
From his
part,
own side
but
as
whatever it is,
What will he ask?
I am sorry. I bet any criticism, he is so irresponsible. I wouldn't attribute it to lack of finance or his economic status. Go sweep the streets every day for the next 31 days. You will be able
Yes,
to
yes.
rake in 28,000.
You're able to get it.
Plead.
Go to
On the
different
streets.
sites,
Yes.
building sites.
Go to the sites.
Be a laborer.
Be a
Just
laborer.
do
Do
anything.
whatever you can.
Just do anything.
Luckily
and say,
enough,
"God,
we've
I
not
need
lost the woman in question. We've not lost the woman, right?
Yes.
The woman is alive. Then they are talking about how to evacuate
The baby.
The
the
already
fetus,
dead
the already fetus, which if left longer may begin to cause health
course.
complications. There is no excuse for the man. There is no excuse. And as far as I'm concerned, if arrested, should be disciplined for putting the life of that woman in danger.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, another question. Were they married? The woman, how did you get pregnant? On her part, I would say she's irresponsible also. Before you should bring any child to the world, there are things you should consider. One is your economic standing. I didn't use the word economic status. Your economic standing. You should be able to plan for the baby.
Yes.
You should, especially given the times that we are in. If the man is so irresponsible, then you as a woman
No, you are there
should
to
be
cover
able
up.
to,
Yes. To
No, you are
cover
there
up.
to
should be
cover
able
up.
to
True.
be responsible enough not to get pregnant. Yes. I'm not exonerating anybody. On her part, she has failed also. Knowing that she is married or she is with an irresponsible man. What has she done? She doesn't have a family. She doesn't belong to any group, any religious group at all, any community union. There are avenues. She would have sought for help on time
Before
that moment.
Okay.
Now, which hospital was she using?
So sorry.
Yes, this is generic. Which hospital was she using? If it's a government or private hospital, now I don't want to talk to the government. Let's assume that it was a private hospital.
Okay.
And they had to demand for money. But what is the hypocritical oath you took as a doctor, as a medical practitioner,
That's what baffles me.
to save life?
To save lives.
Is it not?
Yes.
And then you've discovered this situation.
And there's complications. What did you do?
What did you do?
What did you do?
Now, if it's beyond the hospital, let's assume it is a private hospital, are there no advocacy agencies that are into advocating for such cases? Who did you reach out to? Are there no humanitarian organizations that the hospital, being well informed, assuming that this woman is an illiterate,
You could even do a referral. You see that the
or
complications
a referral
is
now,
beyond you.
going
You could
refer the person
refer
to a
them.
general hospital,
Yeah.
any government hospital.
Do a referral.
Now that takes me to the part of the government. This is an indictment on all of us, on our government, on our president. It happened in Abuja, right?
Yes.
On the FCT minister, and various states. Is an indictment on all of us. will come to the front page of newspapers, will celebrate wonders. When you call anyone affiliated with the government, they will reel out the good things the government has done when it comes to health. And then in this nation, in this time, in this age, someone for 28,000 naira, you're losing a pregnancy.
Twin pregnancy.
Insane crimes, even the mad people on the streets are taken care of. I will stop at this.
It's just like, in fact, it's because this one happened in Abuja there. It's virtually everywhere.
Yes.
And probably because this one was brought for us to see what happened. Maybe worse situations like this even happen on daily basis when it has to do with child and maternal care. But my worries are, one, you said you are a medical doctor, that the main reason is that you are called into this profession. You have you love helping, kind of advocating, and issues like this comes to play. What did you do? The first thing should be done first, which is what? Save that life. After saving that life, any other thing can yes, any other thing can follow suit. The doctor may even be in the better position to say, woman, come. We've done the main thing. Oh, yeah, come. Where do you have people?
Call your
parents, siblings? Do you belong? Do you even attend any church? Do you have friends, like neighbors? Just anything. But first, let those lives be saved. First thing first. The reason she came to the hospital is so that she will have a free and good health care assessment. So she'll be able to access those health facilities, unlike her counterpart who will not be able or who are not able to make it to the hospital. And now in the same hospital we are talking about this. It's not making sense. So, it can be, the amount was not even up to 30,000. That's at 50,000, just 28,000 naira. That's why the thing pained me. When I saw her this morning crying, it sent cold shivers down my spine. I said, what's happening in Nigeria, So my own is this, that those things our government is saying, they're doing this, they're doing that are on paper. Please, can they start translating them into reality, into actuals? Let people begin to feel the impact of the health interventions they say they are giving out.
All right. While we were speaking, one thing comes to mind. The fact that that woman was in that hospital means that she's been going for
antenatal. She's
been going for antenatal. Yes. And you discover, why didn't they discover this situation on time? Then let's assume that something happened. Why couldn't the hospital do something about it?
That's one. Folder there. Like, they know she's coming.
So, in this case, I'm so handicapped to call out our government. I would rather call out the citizens, like myself, who know what it is, who know the times and the climate, who know where we live. This is Nigeria. And if I should, again, give that my penny advice, is to the families. Knowing where we live, knowing the times, please consider the number of children that you want to have. If you're capable of taking care of one, I'm an advocate that you shouldn't have more than two. So if it's one you're capable of, please have one.
That's it. And then the amount you can
take care of
it. Know the ones you can take care of.
Know your capability. If and the time you're married and you don't have the capacity or the financial standing to take care of a baby, please don't get your wife pregnant.
Don't.
Take your time.
The woman go for
this is no competition. Take your time.
True.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you very much for that. And please, as usual, don't forget that you can grab your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-paper online. And after the break, we'll be taking a celebration for today. Please stay tuned.
Aqua, water. Water is life, ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water falling from our eyes or washing over our skin can heal what language.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV, and today we have a world celebration actually, which is the World Coconut Day. And this day is marked every year on September 2nd, and it's all about celebrating the tree of life, which is the coconut. And this humble fruit isn't just for sipping fresh juice on a hot day, it's also turned into oil, milk, flour, craft, and even beauty products. Now, please let us know what you're celebrating wherever you are, and you can tag us at Aneke TV across Instagram, Facebook, X, on YouTube, all at Aneke TV, or you call our phone number, which is 070-3043-7110. And it's a wrap on today's edition of Sunrise. It's always a pleasure to have you on our show every day. I'm Deborah Wakoba.
And Amuche Osai. Remember, stay bold, be unique, and keep watching Aneke TV till we come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Religion. Religion wears many names, but in its deepest form is not in rituals. It is in love. True faith is not louder than others. It listens. It breaks bread with strangers and weeps with the broken. We are not defined by the places we kneel, but by the way we rise and reach for each other. The prophets came not to divide, but to remind us that all paths to God must pass through kindness. So, let our prayers not end in temples. Let them begin in how we live, in the warmth we give, and in the bridges we build beyond belief.
Good morning, sports lovers. Welcome to Sports Update here on Aneke TV, where we'll bring you the thrills and excitement from tennis court and football field across the globe. Yeah, let's kick things rolling by moving to the tennis court. From the US Open, Carlos Alcaraz shows his quality as he overcomes the French Otto Rednick to book his place in the quarterfinals by beating him 7-6, 6-3, 6-4. On the women's side, Naomi Osaka beats home favorite Coco Gauff in straight sets to reach quarterfinals. She put up a faultless performance to book her place in the US Open quarterfinals with a 6-3, 6-2 win over the tournament's third seed, Coco Gauff, on Monday. Now, we'll move straight to the world of football, the beautiful game that unites fans around the world. As we are well aware, the transfers closed yesterday. Though most players are departing for their national team's assignments, but we'll give you an update on what transpired in the transfer market. We'll start from the Nigerian side. Nigerian striker Victor Boniface joins Werder Bremen on loan. Remember, the Nigerian international Victor Boniface has completed a move to Werder Bremen. This was announced after the Italian powerhouse backed down from signing him on the advice of their doctors because of injuries he sustained earlier in his career. Boniface, 24, leaves Bayer Leverkusen to join Bremen on a season-long loan after completing his medical on a transfer window deadline day. The striker joined Bayer Leverkusen in 2023 from Belgian side Union St. Galileos, and he has scored 32 goals and registered 12 assists in his time at the club, including playing a big role in Xabi Alonso's Bundesliga winning Invincibles in 2023-24 season. Moving forward, Nigerian international Chukwueze joins Fulham on a loan with option to buy. The total package is rumored to be around 25 to 26 million euros. Chrysanthus Uche has equally joined Crystal Palace. He joined Palace after an impressive debut season with Getafe, where he scored 4 goals and 7 assists in 38 appearances. The 22-year-old, who previously played for Moralo CP and Eddie Seta, becomes Palace's 5th summer signing, following Walter Benitez, Bena Sosa, Yeremi Pino, and Jedi. Meanwhile, another player of Nigerian descent, Franco Ume, has completed a permanent switch to EFL club Portsmouth. The Republic of Ireland under 21 forward, who joined Palace from Cork City in February 2023, featured in 15 senior match days. He was on the sideline but never debuted for the first team. He scored 17 goals in 49 appearances for the development squad, including the service strike in 2024 Premier League International Cup Finals at Selhurst Park. Moving forward, Premier League side Newcastle United have confirmed the temporary departure of Trevor Sanusi, while William Osula will remain with the club for the 2025 season. Osula had been strongly linked with a move to Bundesliga side Frankfurt, with both clubs holding talks on deadline day. The report that emerged later on informed viewers and fans all around the world that the deal collapsed on Monday afternoon after the two sides failed to reach an agreement. Then moving forward, still on transfers, the most protracted transfer saga of the season comes to an end, with Liverpool having agreed 125 million fee with Newcastle concerning the signing of Alexander Isak. Sources close to the deal told reporters that an agreement for the Swedish international to join Anfield Club is now in place as at the time of filing the report. However, we are well aware that later Monday night that the deal was completed, and Isak, as at this moment, is now a Liverpool player, bringing an end to the most protracted transfer saga of the season. Going forward, Liverpool defender Kostas Mikas has completed a season-long loan to join Serie A side Roma. The 29-year-old left-back will spend the rest of the campaign with the Italian club, having not featured for any loss since the side lost to Brighton. Smikas joined Liverpool from Olympiacos for a fee rumored to be around £11.7 million in the summer of 2020 and has made 115 appearances for the club. He has won the Premier League, FA, including scoring the decisive penalty in the shootout victory over Chelsea in the 2022 final and the Carabao Cup twice during his Liverpool career. The Greece international struggled to cement a regular starting place in Slot's team and last featured in the league 3-2 defeat by Brighton on the last game of 2024-25 title-winning campaign. Still on Newcastle, Wizard has finally moved from Brentford in a deal worth £55 million to Newcastle. Remember that Newcastle had multiple offers for Wizard rejected this summer. However, the press forward, releasing statements on Instagram to push forward for a move to the northeast. Then moving forward to Chelsea, Nicholas Jackson finally has completed a loan deal with Bayern Munich with an obligation to buy him for 70.5 million. Remember that Chelsea, at the eve of Jackson undergoing medical with Bayern Munich, called off the engagement, recalling Jackson to return following the injury that their top striker Dilap sustained. However, Jackson and his agent pushed through for the deal to come to manifest. Remember that the manager to Jackson tweeted that the plane to Munich doesn't reverse, that it only moves forward. With that said, that brings an end to the transfer of the season, pending when the market will open up again in January. And in this week, we'll remember that most players are heading home for the international break. This will bring to an end the sports update on Aneke TV this morning. I remain Uche Osai. Thank you for staying with us.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water, and sometimes when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot.
Bishop, kwanu dimi no di ekwe yibo do. Obe ba ya kwa bo. Na ma na mu kwanu dimi ma showo. Di de ekwe yibo do ne. Bo da mu na bo. Iya. Go do ne ke. Iya. Bo da mu no go no mu ke ke go do ne ke. Ayi de ke je bo do ne ke go wa ga. Go do bo ko ma sha bi do ne ke ti lo. Dele na ma lo lo ko. Wo ele yo baba yi. Wo bu ji be go je ka kala. Wo la ke do ku bi de ya do lu ku la bu le je no ke do wo. Dulo to goro. Iya. Wa ta mo te wo ku ma tu. Iya. O gara to. O je yu wo go ke je. Ọmọbọgwe. Ìjẹ́ ìwé ẹgbẹ́ kò wí. Wí ìgbò ọ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ló wù tó. Ebe kúlẹ̀ òwòrò òwúrò jéde. Lókèrè ló wù tó ebe kúlẹ̀ òwòrò òwúrò jéde. Ẹbí máa pẹ́ lóyún jẹ̀dẹ̀lẹ̀ jìnnú ká dọ̀rẹ̀ yọ kàló.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigeria railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Religion. Religion wears many names, but in its deepest form is not in rituals. It is in love. True faith is not louder than others. It listens. It breaks bread with strangers and weeps with the broken. We are not defined by the places we kneel, but by the way we rise and reach for each other. The prophets came not to divide, but to remind us that all paths to God must pass through kindness. So, let our prayers not end in temples. Let them begin in how we live, in the warmth we give, and in the bridges we build beyond belief.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot.
Na manu mo ibo amu kwadu dimi no di ekwe yibo do. Obeba ya kwa bo. Na manu amu kwadu dimi ma jowo. Didi de ekwe yibo do ne. Bo da amu na bo. Iya. Go do ne ka. Iya. Bo da amu no go ro bo du ke go do ne ke. Ayi de ke je bo do ne ke mi go wa ga si do bo pa ma sha mi do ne ke ti. Wele na ma lo lo go. Wele yo babari. Wo bu ji be go je ka kala. Wele ke de jo ku bi de ya do lu bu la bo de je no ke to wo. Dulo to goro. Iya. Mo to mo de wo ku ma tu. Mo na ni de ni ba ku ku. Mo to ma la ku ko to de ni da ma jo.
Enugu State government recently launched a comprehensive youth policy designed to place young people at the center of the state's development process and creating an enabling environment for their growth and empowerment. This is the first time the state will have a dedicated policy for youth development. The 58-page policy document is aimed at harnessing the potential of young people as critical drivers of sustainable development. Unveiling the policy at the International Conference Center, ICC, Enugu, Governor Peter Mba, who was represented by the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Mr. Lloyd Ekweremadu, described the young people in the state as the heartbeat of Enugu State.
The youth are the heartbeat of Enugu State. They constitute the energy, creativity, and vision that drive our development. Yet, for too long, their potential has been underutilized. This youth policy is our bold response to that challenge. It is a roadmap that captures the aspirations of our young people and aligns them with the development agenda of our dear state.
Governor Mba said that Enugu Youth Policy is the outcome of rigorous consultations, robust engagements, and collaborative efforts. In his goodwill message, the Executive Director, South Saharan Social Development Organization, Dr. Stanley Lechuku, said the organization believes that young people are not just leaders of tomorrow, they are the strength of today. And that was why they gave their support when the process of developing the policy began.
We believe that the young people are not just leaders of tomorrow, they're the strengths of today. And that is why when we began this process with Action Aid, we were glad to stand behind it.
For his part, the country director of Action Aid Nigeria, Andrew Mamedi, said Action Aid Nigeria has remained steadfast in their mission to working with people living in poverty and exclusion with a strong focus on advancing the rights and aspirations of young people women, and the marginalized, represented by the head of program Action Aid Nigeria, Celestine Odo, the country director, said Enugu Youth Policy, fully supported by Action Aid Nigeria, is a testament to what can be achieved through collaboration between government, civil society, and young people themselves.
The Enugu State Youth Policy, fully supported by Action Aid Nigeria, is a testament to what can be achieved through collaboration between government, civil society, and young people themselves. It provides a framework that prioritizes young youth development, empowerment, participation in governance, education, employment, climate actions, entrepreneurship, social justice.
Mr. Wilfred Emeko KK, who is a consultant, Enugu State Youth Policy, emphasized that and their valuable assets while stating its visions and objectives to develop strategies to better the lives of the youths.
Enugu State recognizes the importance and perhaps indispensable role of its youth in promoting sustainable development and addressing socio-economic challenges.
The event was witnessed by youths from different parts of the state, cutting across various sectors, ministries, departments, agencies, education, health, and agriculture. Chidimi Kemede, Aneke TV.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for joining us today on The Insight, where we x-ray the heartbeat of politics, issues that shape and affect our nation. Here on Aneke TV, I am Uche Osai. Today, we'll be taking a closer look on Enugu State, on the developmental efforts of Dr. Peter Mba, the governor of Enugu State. With me to discuss and dissect issue is Dr. Chigozie Anarodo, a developmental scientist and a public affairs analyst. Doc, it's good to have you today.
Yeah, good morning, Uche, and good morning, our viewers.
All right.
It's my pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. So, Doc, let's just get right into it. Today, we're looking at Governor Peter Mba's developmental efforts. What is your assessment?
Yeah. Well, let me see that the essence of governance is actually to improve the lot of the people. What we have done in constitutional democracy is to hand over our common interests to certain people to manage our interests and run them for our welfare, security, and well-being generally. So to that extent, we have the responsibility of evaluating from time to time those to whom we have handed over our future to see how they are handling it. After 2 years, I do think it is proper to actually evaluate how far the governor of Enugu State, His Excellency, Mr. Peter Mba, has been handling the affairs of Enugu State. If we look at the fact that comparatively we are coming from the last regime of Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who say, oh, we have moved from where we used to be. We have improved from where we were standing to a better position. However, if we contextualize the environment properly, we may begin to see that there is a room for improvement. Things could have been done much better than they have been done. You know, so that's my general overview. We can take them in closer details because every pregnancy is a project of its own. You know, in that sense, the present regime has had its own issues. So the regime must be appraised based on the context of the current environment where it operates. We are dealing with an environment where 2023 May, June came with their own challenges of policy changes, policy of subsidy removal, policy of naira devaluation, then afterwards the policy of removal of subsidy on electricity and so on and so forth. So and people had expected, and government confirmed so too, that more money had become available to government. So, to the extent that more money had become available to government, we must evaluate the activities of government side by side with the funds that have been available to government and see whether if these funds have been judiciously utilized, the projects that have been carried out, the impact of those projects on the badly affected people of Nigeria, because the policy I mentioned earlier actually threw the economy into a kind of initial crisis. People lost their power of purchase. People had to spend more money to get energy, whether it is energy for transportation or energy for keeping the household and businesses running in terms of electricity. And the values of the little money they had been taken away. And what has happened was that, and it is still that, money has been taken away from the people and given more to the government. The question becomes, what has the government done with the money that are available, and where are the people in the equation that has been created?
All right, Doc. You said we are no longer where we used to be.
I agree. Yeah, I said so.
Now let's bring it home. Let's look at specific projects.
Okay.
Starting with recently the commissioning of buses, the commissioning of bus terminal. What's your assessment of this project and its impact on the people of the Enugu State?
Thank you, Uche. Two issues are involved: the bus terminals and the buses.
Yes.
Honestly, I think the bus terminal is not a people impactful project.
Why do you say that, Doc?
Yeah, I'm coming. When I say, I will explain. Well, and with due respect to the intent of government, a lot of persons have said that the terminals, oh, they are beautiful, they are nice. But let's look at the cost of the bus terminal. And when I say cost, I'm not talking about financial cost now, because we do not even have information. I'm coming to I'll get to the transparency of running governance in this regime. That's a different discourse. I'm not talking about the cost on the people. Remember, those places where the bus terminals were constructed were crowded places before now. And human beings, people of Enugu State, residents of Enugu State, were the people plying businesses, finding their source of livelihood in those places. Suddenly, there was need for government to construct those terminals, so said the government. And what happened was that demolitions happened, people were displaced, and government did not make any provision to assimilate, relocate, and cushion the impact of this dislocation of the people. Uche, there's a place called Gariki. Government agencies were still collecting revenues a few days to the demolition of the Gariki area. And eventually, government, having the powers to do what they did, went in and demolished the area without making provision of where those people displaced there will be assimilated into, so that they will continue to eke out living. And like I said in the beginning, what we have done in constitutional democracy is to carry our common interest and transfer to individuals to take care of them. And now the welfare of those people were at stake. I would have expected that government would have brought human face to this project by making provision for a place to relocate these people who were doing businesses in those areas. If an alternative places were constructed and those people were asked to move to those places because government needed to do a renewal, build what is termed modern bus terminals on those areas, that would have reduced the impact of this shock relocation on those people. The same thing happened at the Holy Ghost area. The same thing happened at the Nsukka area, which I am disappointed to hear the agents of government saying that currently those who were displaced at Ogige Nsukka, Ogige Market, that's what it is, will be accommodated after the construction of 5,000 shops at the Nsukka International Market.
Yes.
That is just about to, the construction is just about to start. Which one should, between the chicken and the egg, which one should come first? Constructing that alternative market before the demolition of the existing market, which one would have been first? If the interests of the people were to be put first, which is what democracy should be. Because the people are the employers. When the time for election comes, they go around begging the people for votes, trying to persuade them. Now the people have handed power to our leaders. Our leaders are now, sending down orders on us. I would have expected that government would have been more responsible by constructing that market, the alternative market, relocating those people who were, giving them time to move in. If government constructed alternative market and allocated shops to those who had the shops at the existing market, and if you are giving time to relocate and you don't relocate, then you probably are looking for trouble. I do not know any plan, or relocating the people who are at the Holy Ghost Market. I have not heard any about the people who are displaced at a Gariki Market area. So to that extent, it will shock you to realize that a lot more people have been taken into poverty by that singular project. That's what I mean by the cost of the project. We live in a society where there is no social security. If you are sick, you need to struggle to provide your health care out of pocket. If you're going to school, your children have to go to school, you need to provide a cost of education out of pocket. Because there could be free basic education, but there are other costs to it. People don't get free uniform, they don't get free books, they don't find themselves to school freely, and so on and so forth. So people pay, in era where electricity supply is very erratic, people provide power to them. So I'm sure that in this facility you provide their power to get things run. So in that circumstance, people were literally aching out living. And they were finding their source of livelihood through those things that they were doing in those places. And if government is for the people, you probably would have done a baseline assessment. How many people are here? If you displace these people, where are we going to put them? If you put them here, what will be the social impact of this displacement, or this location? If we put it side by side by the impacts of the new project, we'll probably see that, given the net effect, because we have provided a shock absorber, relocated these people, brought a new project, given the net effect of the dislocation and the import of the new project, you probably see that the positive of the new project will overshadow the net impact that remains. But we're in a situation where we see government that probably gives us shock therapy and begin to think as an afterthought of a way to now manage the social problem that would have emanated from there. You can't count how many people may have lost, because they have lost the source of their livelihood. They're not able to maintain their health care. Probably, ultimately, they would have lost their lives. People would have lost their source of livelihood. People would have gone into one crime or the other. So to that extent, it comes at huge cost. And by the way, Uche, does a state government have a business in constructing bus terminals? That's a question that not many people have asked. By the way the governance is run, there are certain businesses that should belong to the federal government. There are certain businesses that the state government should focus on. There are certain businesses that local government should focus on. We could talk about exclusive reserve, concurrent reserve, then residual reserve. I'm hearing recently that I hear that federal government wants to devote 142 billion naira to constructing bus terminals in different geopolitical regions of the country. And I said that's madness.
Perhaps the impact from Enugu State is so attractive that the federal had to replicate the same.
Well, I'll leave you in the delusion of that opinion, because Enugu State is not the first state to have constructed bus terminals. Hold on. You are talking about Enugu State luring the federal government. Lagos State had constructed a bus terminal. If you go to Oshodi bus terminal, which was beautiful when it was constructed, it's not a hideout for criminals. The Federal Capital Territory constructed bus terminals. Yes. What has become of the bus terminals? Let me let you know that if you go to countries that are developed, airports are constructed and owned by local governments. The duties and responsibilities of local governments have been eroded by state governments. That's why I think it's a misplacement of priority in the first instance to have even gone into bus terminal construction.
All right, Doc. There are still some analysts who are of the view that these terminals and the buses have provided employment for the people, thereby helping to improve the economy.
Oh, that's a good argument. But let's place the argument side by side what I have said, and with empirical facts that we can bring up into the analysis. It is understood when somebody flashes on the surface and says he has provided employment. Uche, how many people are employed by one bus? If you have a driver, if you have a helps man, a woman, what they call conductor, if there is one, you probably have a technician that helps in repairing the bus, and probably ticket issuers. How many people, by the number of buses that have been employed and that have been acquired? The terminals that have been built, how many people are employed in each terminal? Put them side by side with the number of persons who are in the informal sector that have been displaced in the course of construction of the terminals. Let me remind you that statistics have shown that 60% of Nigerian economy runs on the informal sector. In fact, the informal subsistence sector actually holds the economy of Nigeria and most of the economies of the developing countries. Go to Southeast Asia and see what informal sector is doing there. So, how many people have been displaced who are in the informal sector, who have been displaced by the construction, and how many people have been employed? Because it is misleading for people to say, oh, people have been employed because they have a formal job, forgetting that those who work in the informal sector may even make more income per capita, thereby improving on the quality of life they live by the activities they do I have had case to mentor and talk to artisans. By the time we got down to the nitty-gritties, an artisan would have realized that he or she is able to make about 300, 400,000 in a month. The only problem they have is that they are not able to probably save the money and put it into better use. But you see a senior civil servant who actually earns less than 200,000 naira in a month, being regarded as a big man or big woman, probably sometimes being chauffeured in official vehicles. And they say this, oh, this person is employed. Probably because those people help themselves with, corrupt practices. Otherwise, a very big impact is created in our economy by the informal sector. So when you displace people who are operating in the informal sector, you are creating a huge economic dislocation in the economy, thereby worsening the lot of the people when it comes to poverty index measurements. So in as much as it sounds apparently reasonable for people to jump out and say, oh, jobs have been created. Uche, I do not say that it is good to have a 21st century rickety buses running on our roads. But if you count those who are operating those rickety vehicles, they are more in number than you can actually create a job with this. That's all to say that city modernization should be taken out of the table completely. I hope you get my point. My point is that strategy must be brought into the things we do, and we must make provisions for taking care of people to be displaced from urban renewal projects, so that we don't displace people and begin to grapple with the after effects of the displacement. And that's the kind of thing we see in the federal government project, where federal government, remove subsidy without having made plans to take care of the people, knowing the expected negative impact of subsidy removal. And people go to town and say, oh, it was good to remove subsidy. Nobody is saying that it was not good to remove subsidy. So they are missing the point. The point we are making is that you need to plan on how to cushion the effect before you bring in the action.
All right, hold the thoughts, Doc. Viewers, thank you for staying with us. We'll go on a short break. I will be right back.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
All right, thank you, viewers, for still staying with us. We're discussing with Dr. Chigozie Anarodo, a developmental scientist and public affairs analyst. We are looking into Enugu State, the developmental strides of Dr. Peter Mba. Doctor.
Yes.
He said the essence of governance is to prove the lot of the people.
Absolutely.
Good. Let's look at the recent commissioning or re-unveiling of Hotel Presidential. What's your view on that project as well?
I think it's a good one.
All right.
I think it's a good one, given the fact that these are assets that are, that were left moribund, wasting as it were. So for the fact that it was renovated and re-unveiled, I think it was a good one. So you need to understand that we don't really stand out to throw away everything our government has done. We must look at the ones that are low-hanging fruit that need to be done. That's why I talk about strategy every time. So the Hotel Presidential was already there, lying on the expanse of land that it occupies, and having been left to lie idle for all these years, amounted to loss to the Enugu State government and the Enugu State people. So it was a commendable thing that the government revamped and renovated the Hotel Presidential. So also the International Conference Center that was allowed to lie fallow for years, in the middle of construction. Having completed it and brought it to life, it has added to the life of Enugu City. I mean, the ongoing conference of the Nigerian Bar Association is a testimony to that. So those are projects that government that we can see that look, it was good that government went into it, but the point must not be taken away. Uche, these projects may not be high impactful projects directly, but because they were low hanging fruits, they were easy to be plucked. The International Conference Center had been constructed to an advanced level and abandoned for years. It was good that government completed it and made it functional. And I can assure you that probably it will attract a number of persons that come into Enugu for conference, and these conferences will impact, meetings will impact on the businesses of the people operating in the informal sector. And so it's also the Hotel Presidential that provides accommodation for ecotourism in the state. But this should not remove the fact that government must pay attention to the high impacting projects that would actually change the lives of the people faster than these projects. And by the way, they are not mutually exclusive. What do I mean? The fact that Hotel Presidential was renovated, the fact that International Conference Center was completed, should not mean that other projects should not come on. So in direct answer to your question, it was a good move to have renovated the Hotel Presidential. It was a good move to have completed the International Conference Center. But the point that I still make is that these projects are not necessarily high impact projects when it comes to, because you talk about the masses.
Yes.
There are in the population distribution of any state, greater number of persons are found in the rural areas than are in the urban areas. That's why when government concentrates on beautifying the city, good as it may look, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually add to increasing the GDP of the state and taking away poverty, as it were, as quickly as government
this will increase the internally generated revenue.
Uche, that's the problem I have. Just put it on the side that I have said that it was not a bad thing.
Yes.
Rather, it was a good thing.
Yes.
Oftentimes, I've had to speak with government agents and operators of government, and I hear them mix up internally generated revenue with GDP. They are not the same thing. It's more important that for the government that economic activity goes on and increases in the state. Grounded economic activities. That is when you can measure the gross domestic product of the state. And mind you, if you have a good spread of economic activities and gross domestic product increases, it directly impacts on income per capita. That is to say, you, Onye Enugu, Ndi Enugu, will now have more money in their pockets. That's when income per capita increases. And if you have more money in your pocket per annum, what it means and translates to literally is that you can improve the quality of life you live. You can afford to go to hospital. You can afford good shelter. You can afford good clothing, and you can afford healthy food. And these are the essence and pillars of good livelihood. And that is when you feel actually that government has imparted and impacted greatly on you. I have seen cities in Europe that don't necessarily look magnificent, but you realize that the people who live in those cities are happy, they are comfortable, the HDI, human development indices, are high. The quality of life they live are high because the per capita income that they have access to is very high. Some countries are living with per capita capital income of $15,000 per person per year on the average. Some are living with $10,000, some $6,000. But which the per capita income around this area is less than 800 naira. So if you have $800, sorry. If you have per capita income less than $800, when in other parts of the world you have per capita income about $15,000, you can now appreciate the Japa syndrome. And so you must put development and economic growth in proper perspectives. Otherwise, we may end up beautifying cities. And I criticize some governments in the past for just trying to beautify cities, put street lights, and without actually catalyzing economic development and growth. And so, government might take, in fact, geometrically increase the internal generated revenue for all you care, without seeing a proportionate improvement on the quality of life of the people. And if that happens, then you have not done well in economic development.
All right, Doc, moving forward, there are people who are of the view that these projects, though commendable, are elitist and not for the masses.
Well, Uche, I will not explicitly say that they are elitists, because the economy is interwoven. For example, if you have people selling food in small cafeteria around, and there is a big conference that attracts up to 5,000 people into a city, people are lodged in hotels. Almost always they go out of the hotels to find their food. They want to eat local delicacies of the people. You see that those who operate the cafeterias, the restaurants, are making good sales, and they will go to the market to buy from the farmers who have produced these farm products, and that actually improves the economy of the people. So I wouldn't say completely. So otherwise it would be pessimism, complete pessimism, to say that, for example, the International Conference Center is totally elitist, or the Hotel Presidential is totally elitist. Like I said, these are assets of the state, built originally with our money. If they are left to rot away, our money is being wasted there. The only caveat I bring in is that when government renovates this, they must concession those to good managers, so that we don't go back to where we're coming from. The point I make is that if government is in a hurry to actually take people out of poverty, there must be some other projects that have high impact factor on the people than this one, without my necessarily outrightly calling them elitists. For example, I have criticized the Enugu Air project that it's a waste of public fund. Good as it must sound that Enugu has an airline, it's a waste of public fund. If a government has put in 62 billion naira, as they told us, because I mean, transparency is part of an issue in this government. As I said, I was going to come to that.
Yes.
So, democracy, constitutional democracy requires public participation. We should be able to go to government websites and find the cost of completing the International Conference Center, and see whether the cost is commensurate with the work has been done, because the work belongs to us. Yes. We should find the cost of renovating the Hotel Presidential and see whether the cost is commensurate with the work has been done, or it has become a tunnel for funneling away public funds, because the money is ours. But we can't say these things. I have confronted government officials, and when you ask them, so we don't know. Maybe we'll ask the Commissioner for Finance. This transparency demands that, I mean, issue. These jobs should be done by public bidding, and if they are bidded for, the cost of executing the project should be put on the table for everybody to see, and to see whether it is actually judicious use of public funds. I talked about the money available to government being increased, and the need for judicious use of those monies. So that's that's where I call out this government to actually be more transparent in letting the people see the financial cost of doing projects, whether they are the bus terminals, whether they are the conference centers, whether they are the Enugu Air. But I criticize Enugu Air because I didn't see a business case in the state government putting fund in floating a fresh airline, where the existing private sector airlines are not able to maximize their capacities. If you listen recently, you hear that Nigeria has signed a bilateral air service agreement with Brazil. So that APIS can fly directly to Brazil. Yeah. That's capacity that APIS is looking to maximize. If you have flown into Enugu using the existing airlines, you will discover that almost always the aircraft are not filled to capacity. So what was the business case? Was Enugu such a place that you didn't find aircraft and airlines going to Enugu? So if Enugu becomes a lucrative route by catalyzing economic activities in the Enugu state, you will see that ordinarily private investors will put in more airlines into Enugu, rather than, because we know government is a bad business manager. So I didn't see, in fact, that 62 billion, you can imagine if it had been taken, converted into constructing light rails between the cities of Enugu, the impact it would have had on the people. That's when I talk about high impact projects. If you have a rail line that moves from Nsukka, light rail that moves from Nsukka to Enugu, and is able to do Enugu-Nsukka route 3 or 4 times a day, you can imagine, because Nsukka is a university town, you can imagine the mobility that it will create between Enugu and Nsukka. If you have a light rail that moves between Enugu and Oji, Enugu and maybe somewhere around Uboka, where you have some institutions springing up, you have increased the mobility of the people, and people can easily move. People who are stranded in cities without proper accommodation can find accommodation in areas that are not crowded into the cities, and they can easily find their way into their places of livelihood every day. And you will see that per capita income of the people will increase, and those projects are projects that can easily recover their cost of construction. So those are the kind of things. But almost always, Uche, what you find is that government wants to scorch a political point for purposes of campaign. When campaign comes, you see government say, we have floated Enugu airline, without actually asking the cost of 62 billion naira that we were told that was used for the airline. Was that the best way to use such amount of money in this present circumstance to actually take the people out of poverty? Some government official told me that it will create employment, and I laughed. That's it doesn't make sense, because we know that the number of employment it will create will be a child's play to compare with having light rails running around the Enugu city and the kind of direct and indirect employment that those ones would have created. So you go to the government of Enugu started water project. That water project is stalled as far as I'm concerned now, because the governor promised us that in 180 days that he was going to send water to every home. I'm quoting him now, quote unquote, every home in Enugu.
And you think that project has failed?
What do you call failure? How many days do we have now? I don't want to sound like an opposition party, no. In development, we tie down projects to timelines. 2 years and some months have passed. We cannot say that we have made measurable progress in that project. Remember, the governor said 180 days. I actually called out the governor then and said that that was unattainable. I totally said it was unattainable because there was no baseline studies.
Right.
The state of pipes were not known. I knew that engineering reticulation needed to be done in new settlements in Enugu. Even the old settlement needed to be rehabilitated. When I spoke to government officials, they said they had their plans. I told them that you had set up yourselves for failure. Sooner than later, I told the Commissioner for Information then that water gallery was a 19th century thing that we saw in Asia. That if you look at the impact of creating water galleries, we are falling back to people losing man hours in trying to find water. And these things were not sustainable. He insisted they were sustainable. Sooner than later, within days, those galleries were vandalized. And today, I don't know anyone that functions. I don't know any of the water galleries that functions. And if you do the statistics, you will find out that more than 60% of Enugu people who live in Enugu city do not have access to potable water. As you slowly get into the dry season, it will come to you will face the reality. Most of us live and use unwholesome water for our daily activities. You see shallow wells everywhere. And I thought that was what the governor saw and said, well, Enugu people deserve potable water. But how they have handled that leaves a lot to be desired. So to that extent, if that project had actually been advanced as much as it should, it would have been a high impactful project. Because water is key to whether it is health, whether it's sanitation, whether it is environment, and the well-being of the people to be in a position, because if you have a healthy population, you have a productive population.
All right, Doc. Talking about high impactful projects.
Yes.
Let's look at education.
Okay.
The Smart School Initiative.
Okay.
What's your assessment?
On the surface, Uche, the Smart School looks good. On the surface. But that's why I usually talk about strategy. And open governance requires that when government has a dream, if it brings it to a plan, and if it has a plan, it should create strategy or strategies for those plans. And they should be brought to public domain for proper criticism to help government achieve the desired goals. The Smart School, like I said, on paper, looked very good. But the question I had asked myself in the first day I heard about it was, looking at the pathway that the Smart School project wanted to take, was it better to start completely to construct new schools, or was it faster and cheaper to massively move into existing schools, renovate them and convert them to smart schools? Some of the government people argue that government wanted to a new paradigm. But politics came into it, like everything we do. In some communities, the smart schools are located far away from the people that will use them. Sometimes you see two smart school projects located probably too close to each other, while other communities are actually disenfranchised, as it were, as when the project has come on. So now it's a huge, it's a capital intensive project, as it were now. Apart from the pilot project that was done in Owo, I do not know of anyone that has taken off. we're heading to commencement of new school year. I honestly think that if the kind of amount of money that's being speculated, because nobody is telling you, nobody is giving you the facts. I talked about transparency. Yes. The amount of money that is being speculated to have been sunk into the smart school. I mean, it's a beautiful dream to actually invest in education. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful dream. The amount of money that has been put there, if the monies have been sunk into renovating and converting the existing school structures into smart schools, would we not make better projects? The way these things are sited and located, what are the chances of sustainability? Then I have a bigger concern, the way it's being mouthed. Uche, every institution stands on 3 legs, principal legs. There could be other legs. The infrastructure, the legal framework, then the human resources. The teachers that are going to man the smart school, are they going to come from the moon? Government says we are training them. I say it's beyond just training them. Part of the problem, the education problem we have in Nigeria today is poor remuneration. And as such, the educational system does not attract the best of the human resources to get into that sector. Time was that you went to primary school, you saw young men, young women who are top of their classes getting into teaching profession because they were properly remunerated. As it is now, if you go to an average primary and secondary school, you will see that you have 90% women population. I mean, due respect to the women, I mean, they are not less important. But sociologically putting it, you see that the men are scared of getting into that because in the cultural environment where we live in, a man has a huge responsibility. You have to grow up, make enough money, marry a wife that you will take care of, as it were. Social responsibilities that are facing you, you know. So you discover that in the university sector now, if you see people graduating from education, those who have made first class and second class upper find their way elsewhere. They don't want to go to the basic education sector because the remuneration is very poor. Is government going to increase significantly the remuneration and support for the teachers that are going to teach in smart school? Otherwise, it will be a rat race.
All right. If you're just joining us, we are discussing today on the insight, the impact of Dr. Peter Mba's developmental efforts in Enugu State, the benefits to Ndi Enugu. And with me here is Dr. Chigozie Anarodo, a developmental scientist and a public affairs analyst. Doc,
yes,
we've been looking at these projects. Now let's take a look at security, which is fundamental for development to take place. Doctor, what's your assessment of the governor's effort in security?
Yeah, thank you, Uche. I think I applaud the governor, especially on the first steps he made at the early days of his government. You see, a lot of people came out to criticize me, especially those who are emotional, or that he shouldn't have put in all the energy in stopping the sit-at-home on Monday. I said no. A situation where the Southeast was losing close to 40 billion every Monday, you know, was totally unacceptable. And there was no way a government that is what is sought will surrender the sovereignty of the, or as it were, surrender the powers that the people have entrusted onto that government to non-state actors, to fear and to lack of economic activity. And I totally commend this government for actually taking the bull by the horn by confronting the issue of loss of productivity on Monday in the name of sit at home. To that extent, I mean, it was a good thing to make the effort to recover Monday, but you can also see that sustainability has become an issue in terms of allowing it to spread into other areas of the state. You still have issues with the hinterlands of Enugu, people having the capacity to move around and do their business in the hinterland. So I actually hope that government should do more by permeating the hinterlands to recover the place so that there shouldn't be ungoverned spaces in our environment.
All right, Doc. Before I take you to politics, the issue of politics, on a scale of 1 to 10, when compared to the previous administrations, what's your rating of this government?
Is it in terms of in the total rating?
Total rating, when compared to the previous government, a scale of 1 to 10. Don't think about it, Doc. Just from a scale of 1 to 10, what's your assessment? You've been a resident of this state.
Yes, for more than 30 years.
When compared to previous administrations, when looked holistically, from a scale of 1 to 10, what's your rating?
Okay, that's an easy thing to do. On the scale of 1 to 10, compared to the last administration, I'll place this government on 6.
All right.
For 10.
Only 6?
That's my assessment. I am a teacher.
Good, but the previous administration, you didn't give a pass mark either.
No, so we're putting on this. See, when you say a scale relative to the previous administration, like I told you, my job is teaching. What it means is that the previous administration takes the base value of 0.
All right.
Do you understand?
All right.
So now this one scales up to 6.
So your final score is 6.
Well, I'm not prevaricating about it.
All right.
The point I want to make, however, is that it's not enough to do that comparative score.
Okay.
It's important to do absolute score.
Okay.
Because the previous administration, truth must be said, we run a porridge economy where we depend on the allocation of the federation to run. The previous administration ran in the era when oil revenue was very low. The monies accruable to the federation account was much lower. A situation where the federation was distributing a total of about 600 billion per month. That's the regime we move from, and we're in the regime where the federation is currently distributing 2 trillion in a month. Are you able to place them side by side? That's why I talk about context. It may be shallow-minded for us to say, oh, let's just compare. You move from 600 to more than 3 folds. So we must expect such quantum leap in the type of developmental impact and efforts that we see. So that's why I said, I mean, I can't argue with you because you are the moderator here. You wanted a comparative scale. That I gave to you. We can do an absolute scale.
All right, Doc.
And my absolute scale can come down to 4.
All right, Doc. We're in era of endorsements. We're in era of endorsements.
Absolutely.
And based on the efforts of this government, we've heard when he went to commission the projects in the Soka, we heard the people endorsing him for another term in office, though we are still in 2 years. And given the crisis in the PDP, do you think it's possible for this governor to run under that platform? And if not, should he want to decamp from the PDP, as we've seen others do? Do you think there is a headway for him in the APC?
Well, I'm not a politician.
Right.
So I may not know exactly the intricacies of the internal working of the political parties, but my analysis is based on what we know and what we're able to dig out from where we stand. There's a huge crisis in PDP.
Right.
So, and the developments we have seen in PDP may have pitched the governor on one side of the PDP crisis, while the likes of Yeson Wike are on the other side of the PDP crisis. How the PDP as a political party is able to navigate that crisis before 2026, because we are saying we're just 2 years in. The truth of the matter is that campaign for primaries will start. In fact, the campaigns for primaries have shortly started.
Yes.
Forget the endorsement you are seeing are business of politically minded people. I mean, they do that business in every cycle. Some of them make money from the businesses. So by early 2026, because by Aneke guidelines, by middle 2026, the parties would have known their candidates. The candidates would have been submitted to the INEC, because you need enough time for campaign before the election, according to the new INEC regulations. So by the time we get to 2026, you see that political activities will increase. Those who are interested in political offices will want to get off with the campaign and get the people to support them. So 1 week is a lot of time in politics. For example, the NEC of PDP couldn't hold for some time, but between the 100 NEC and the 101 NEC, we have seen that PDP was able to hold NEC meetings. There are forces that are still pulling. Now we see the Makinde group and the Yeson Wike group. Whether they are able to come together now to form a one PDP is difficult to say exactly. Because Wike had said it without equivocation that he was going to support President Bola Tinubu of the APC in 2027. And that as far as he was concerned, the PDP was not going to field a presidential candidate. But PDP has won the presidency now to the south. So the dynamics are changing with speed.
All right.
How they turn out, we may not be able to say exactly. Because if things remain the way they are, or at least we saw them last week, it may be difficult for the governor to say, oh, we'll pick a ticket in PDP. But things can change. And those who are the lower layer can come up to the upper layer and overtake those who are in the upper layer. But if it happens that he doesn't find a headway in PDP, the APC may not be so much of an option for him. Given the emotions of the people of the Southeast, if the votes of the people would count, our people have their feelings about APC. They are not eager to vote for APC.
All right.
So it may even be better. It may even be better for him to actually go the direction of ADC, assuming the PDP is not an option. But like I said, the flux is moving very fast. The dynamics are changing very fast. The equilibrium will continue to move until it settles somewhere. And by the early part of 2026, in fact, after the convention of PDP in November, the situation will become a lot clearer of what the future holds for the political players in Nigeria.
All right, Doc. On that note, we'll draw the curtain on today's edition of The Insight. You've heard from an expert analyst, Dr. Chigozie Anarado. Now, it's time to hear from you, our viewers. Remember, on The Insight, your voice matters. Reach us on Aneke TV on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Let us know what you think about these issues, how they affect you, or the issues that you think we should bring up in our next edition. And we'll call on the government to send your commissioner for information to educate the people more on the benefits of your projects, what they stand to gain. And then, as a counter to the expert of opinion of the analyst, And Dr. Chigozie Narodo, it's wonderful speaking to you again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Uche. It's been a pleasure being here, and we can't do without the viewers. Viewers, we are proud of you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news across the country on Aneke TV. First, the headlines. Benue State Government bans primary and nursery school graduation parties. Correspondent on special assignment examines the menace of instant wealth mentality to the society. FG may seek Airbus repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. Edo crowned weightlifting champions in Asaba. Now the news in details. I'm Deborah Mwakaoba. The Benue State Government has banned graduation parties for kindergarten, nursery and primary schools in the state. The Acting Commissioner, Ministry of Education and Knowledge Management, Mrs. Helen Nambativ, told the News Agency of Nigeria in Makurdi that defaulting schools would be sanctioned. Ms. Nambativ said schools might be closed temporarily for failure to implement the new education policy that prohibited such parties. The Acting Commissioner, therefore, said that the government was putting all the needed mechanisms in place to enforce the new policy. Away from that, a woman identified as Dorothy Tuash on TikTok has opened up about her harrowing experience after waking up from a medically induced coma. The lady, who previously revealed that she lost her 23-week-old pregnancy, said she was placed in a coma for 4 days after developing septic shock, a severe and life-threatening complication of infection. In an earlier video posted on the 24th August, she shared how doctors had given her only a 50% chance of survival, describing her recovery as nothing short of miraculous. In a recent video on the 31st of August, Dorothy narrated the strange and distressing sensations she experienced while unconscious, explaining that although her body was unresponsive, her mind and soul were very much aware of her surroundings. Now over to health. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has issued a fresh 10-day ultimatum to the federal government and other relevant authorities, warning of an imminent nationwide strike if its outstanding demands are not addressed. The resolution was contained in a communique signed by NARD President Dr. Tope Oshundara, General Secretary Dr. Oluwashola Odubako, and Publicity and Social Secretary Dr. Omoha Amobi, following an extraordinary National Executive Council (ENEC) meeting held virtually. The association recalled that it had earlier given a 3-week ultimatum in July before extending the deadline by another 3 weeks to allow for further dialogue with stakeholders. However, it expressed disappointment that the government has yet to fulfill its promises. According to NARD, Many resident doctors are still unpaid for their 2025 Medical Residency Training Fund, MRTF. It also decried the failure to settle 5 months arrears from the 25 to 35% consolidated medical salary structure CONMES review, along with other long-standing salaries arrears. This news broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can follow us on all social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, all at Aneke TV. Now a quick look at major developments in the news. Benue State government bans primary and nursery school graduation parties. And coming up shortly, correspondent on special assignment examine the menace of instant wealth mentality to the society. FG may seek Eba's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. Edo crowned weightlifting champions in Asaba. The news returns after the break.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water falling from our eyes or washing over our skin can heal what language cannot.
Welcome back. Now, Aneke TV correspondent Chidima Ikemede, in this special report, we examine how instant wealth mentality has become a menace to the society.
1 Timothy 6 verse 10 reminds us, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. By craving it, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows." The so-called instant wealth mentality, often described as the get-rich-quick syndrome, refers to the rapacious desire to acquire financial wealth through questionable or unauthorized means solely to satisfy interests or selfish ambitions. In former days, Nigerians prided themselves on the dignity of labor, hard work, humility, endurance, respect for elders, and perseverance, where values were deeply taught by parents and guardians. These virtues propelled many young people into apprenticeship, skill acquisition, and education with the hope of building a solid future. But today, the narrative is changing. With the advent of technology and the erosion of values, many youths have abandoned diligence and now chase wealth by any means. Over time, some parents even began forcing their daughters into marriages with wealthy men, as there's an Igbo adage that says, "Ogobuchi onye," meaning in-laws determine destiny, regardless of love or compatibility. Likewise, some parents urge their sons to make money like their mates without caring about the source. This cultural shift fractured society. Instead of rising through hard work, many young people now want to rise like the Iroko tree, tall, proud, but with little or no traces of foundational hard work. Some have indulged into money rituals, popularly known as ukite, cybercrime, popularly known as Yahoo, prostitution, vandalism, kidnapping, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and theft. The get-rich-quick mentality is not a Nigerian problem. It is a global issue. It spreads like wildfire. In pharmaceuticals, some produce fake or adulterated drugs, repackage expired medicines, or sell counterfeit drinks and foods. Others flood the market with harmful skincare products or inferior tires that burst on highways, claiming innocent lives, all in the name of profit. In public service, corruption thrives. Officials embezzle humongous funds, collect bribes, and divert resources meant for development. Some engineers cut corners by using substandard materials to build roads that collapse within months. Certain nurses exchange babies for money, while baby factories exploit young pregnant girls. Some native doctors encourage blood money rituals, while prosperity-preaching pastors promise instant success without labor, even blessing fraudsters and urging them to pay tithes. But is this truly the right way to make money? Must everyone be rich and influential at all costs? Some Enugu residents who spoke with Aneke TV lamented the moral collapse.
In recent time, we have seen a deviation from hard work and the entrenchment of laziness among the youths and the upcoming ones, because you now see a situation where people don't no longer take patience in hard work, like not you want to reap when we did not sow, or you want to sow today, and you know that in the process of planting you have to sow, you have to wait. There's a gestation period, and then before you talk of harvesting. But these days the young ones want to sow today and then reap the next day. That is get rich quick thing.
They want to belong because when they see their mates, and when they see their mates driving big cars, they want to belong. Some parents are also the cause, because the way they talk to their children, they compare their children to the children of their neighbors or their co-wives. That's one of the things to me.
Some of the parents contribute to this get rich quick syndrome, because when the parents begin to compare the child with other people, you are telling your child, have you not seen Mr. A, how he's doing well, buying houses for the parents, doing this and doing that? That child will feel bad, or we want to go to any length in impressing you, to show that, okay, you know, to make you proud. That is what some of them, you get them, they say, I want to make my parents proud, because the parents refuse to be proud of them, because they have not met up with the other people they are comparing them with. So you don't compare your child with anybody.
They noted that society has grown cold, not just cold, but frozen. The poor are despised, mocked, and branded as cursed, while the wealthy are exalted regardless of how they earned their wealth. This disturbing trend calls for sober reflection. It is time to pause, reconsider, and retrace our steps for the sake of ourselves, our families, and our nation. As the proverb warns, he who knows how to pound should pound on a mortar, but he who doesn't know how to pound should pound on the floor. Let's always reflect on the words of the gospel preacher in Ecclesiastes 1, verse 2, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Chidimi Kemedem, Aneke TV.
Thanks, Chidima Ikemede, for that report. Now, moving ahead, the federal government has hinted that it may seek the repatriation of Simon Ekpa to Nigeria following his 6-year jail sentence in Finland for terrorism-related offences. The Pajat Hamed District Court in Finland yesterday sentenced the Nigerian-born Finnish to 6 years in prison for terrorism-related crimes and other offences. The 40-year-old former municipal politician from Lati was convicted on multiple charges, including participation in the activities of a terrorist organization, incitement to commit crimes for terrorist purposes, aggravated tax fraud, and violations of the Lawyers Act. The court ordered that Ekpa remain in custody. According to the judgment, between August 2021 and November 2024, Ekpa attempted to promote the independence of the so-called Biafra region in southeastern Nigeria through illegal means. Also, the federal government has expressed excitement over a sharp rise in diaspora remittances, which have surged to $600 million monthly in the past 2 months, according to figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, said the increase reflected renewed confidence in the Nigerian economy and recent CBN policy reforms. In a statement issued by NIDCOM's spokesperson, Mr. Abdul Rahman Balogun, Ms. Dabiri Erewa described the inflow as humongous, noting that it marked 200% jump from the $200 million monthly average previously recorded. Away from that, operatives of the Akwa Ibom State Police Command have apprehended 7 suspected cultists over cult-related attacks in Ikot Oshura, Ikot Ekpene local government area of the state. It was gathered that the suspects, believed to be members of the proscribed Ku Klux Klan, concurrently were arrested with a human skull. This was contained in a statement by the command's public relations officer, DSP T4 John in Uyo. John said the arrest followed a complaint received by a student of the Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, Ikot Oshura, that he was ambushed and attacked by members of the gang. She said that the victim, who had renounced his membership of the terror group, was unconscious after the attack, adding that his Redmi 13C Android phone and 41,000 naira in cash were stolen from him. Now over to business news. Nigeria and Colombia are working towards partnership in aviation, trade and cultural exchange. These are the highlights of the bilateral meeting between Colombia Vice President Francia Marquez and Vice President Kashim Shettima in Abuja yesterday. The South American, who is on a 3-day visit to Nigeria, met with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in company of Shettima after their meeting. The president assured the Colombia leader that he would implement the agreements that were reached at her meeting with the vice president. Mrs. Marquez identified aviation, visa facilitation, political consultations, cultural exchange and trade as priority areas for partnership. She also highlighted Colombia's interest in direct flights between both nations and expressed commitment to working with Nigeria to advance social justice, gender equality and inclusivity. Still on business, the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has said the economic reforms introduced by his principal are restoring confidence in the Naira both locally and internationally. Onanuga was reacting to a report that some Chinese traders have begun accepting Naira in place of the United States dollar for transactions with Nigerian customers. The report stated that forex traders have attributed the recent exchange rate stability to the success of Nigeria's currency swap agreement, with Chinese traders now collecting Naira for its currency, the yuan, instead of dollars. They also identified peer-to-peer foreign currency trade as one of the factors that is contributing to the stability of the Naira. Still talking business, the Naira recorded its highest single-day appreciation against the dollar across both the official and parallel foreign exchange markets yesterday. According to Central Bank of Nigeria's data, the Naira gained 1,526.0 Naira against the dollar on Monday from 1,531.57 Naira at the official exchange market. This means that at the official market, the Naira strengthened by 5.48 Naira per dollar on Monday, compared with 1,531.57 Naira traded on Friday last week. The figure surpassed the 3.9 margin at which the Naira appreciated at the close of Friday the previous week. Similarly, in the black market, the Naira fell by 10 Naira to 1,533 Naira on Monday. The change operator in Wuse Zone 4, Abubakar Al-Hassan, told reporter. He said that the appreciation of the Naira is unconnected to low demand for foreign currency on Monday. Now moving over to sports. Team Edo stamped their authority in weightlifting at the ongoing 9th National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State, finishing well ahead of the competition to emerge overall champions. With a haul of 9 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze medals, Edo outclassed their rivals, leaving Team Akwa Ibom in second place with 5 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. Team Abia followed in third with 3 gold, while Team Niger settled for fourth with 1 gold and 2 silver medals. Edo's dominance was most evident in the women's weight classes, where they swept all 9 gold medals on offer. Still on sports, Super Falcons forward Asisat Oshoala is set to join Saudi Arabia Professional Women's Football League side Al Hilal. Oshoala will make the switch from National Women's Soccer League NWSL club Bay FC. The 30-year-old, according to The Athletic, arrived in Riyadh on Monday and passed her medical tests. Now over to entertainment. Big Brother Niger Season 10 housemate's fate has secured the head of house title for week 6 after an intense challenge on Monday evening, dethroning Sultana. Sultana was the interim head of house for week 6 after winning a 3-stage challenge on Sunday. However, fate outshined his fellow housemates Konyi, Imisi, Sultana, Ivata and Doris during the head of house challenge. The victory not only grants him immunity from this week's nominations, but also positions him at the center of House leadership and strategy. Also, a former holder of the Guinness World Record (GWR) for marathon cooking, Hilda Bassi, will be cooking 250 bags of rice to set a new world record for the biggest jollof pot. Hilda made the plan public on Monday in a trending video shared on her Instagram page. Analyzing the scale of the project, Hilda explained that she would be using a 22,619 liters pot for the cooking. To end the news across the country, here are the main points. The Benue State government has banned graduation parties for kindergarten, nursery and primary schools in the state. Correspondent on special assignment examined the menace of instant wealth mentality to the society. We also told you that the federal government has expressed excitement over a sharp rise in diaspora remittances, which have surged to $600 million monthly in the past 2 months, according to figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria. That ends the news. For breaking news, eyewitness reports, please call 070-3043-7110 or visit our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Nwakaoba. Thank you for joining us.